Next thing, and for this section, last thing we'll look at, is the idea of qualifiers and qualified statements. So essentially, what these do is make our statements more general or specific, depending on both the original statement and how it's qualified. So we're looking at things like all, some, and none, or no, where we have here examples of how we can qualify statements in different ways that we can equivalently write them, where it's important to know that when we negate statements with qualifiers, we get some interesting cases. Like if you negate all or none, you get some, and if you negate some, you'll either get all or none, depending on how exactly you want to phrase the result. So let's take a look at an example, where here we're considering one of the main statements of the Founding Fathers, where we have that they say they believed all men are created equal, but based on certain information about how men were treated, we could say that they did not value all men as equal, at least based on the government they formed. So what can we conclude? Well, here we'll start with the statement that we have. Call it P. We'll say the statement P is all men are created equal. For the sake of introducing notation, you don't really need it. But because in looking at how the American government was formed and looking at some of the decisions that were made, especially early on in the formation of the American government, we can conclude that all men were not established as equal. So the truth of this statement, at least as it pertains to the Founding Fathers' belief, was the negation. Here we would say that the negation of P is true, which, because we have this statement here as our original, we can write the negation in a couple of different ways, where one, that for me is the most logical, is some men are not created equal. That is not to say that this is my belief, that is to say that this is the belief of the Founding Fathers, at least as based on the information we have. That considering the situations of most people who were not white landowners, the American government certainly didn't seem to believe that all men are created equal, so we cannot say that the Founding Fathers held that created equal. Thus, we get the negation, which we can either write as something like some men are created equal, or at least one man is not equal to others, depending on exactly how we want to present that statement.